does anybody even know where they're supposed to go and what they're supposed to do? And again, I get the lack of athleticism in some points. Geno Stone's still athletic, and it just hasn't shown.
Richard Skinner checking in, talking Bengals, Local 12, local12.com. It's only Wednesday, but what do you make of the injury status at this point of one Zach Moss and Mike Gesicki on the other side of the ball?
Yeah, it's troubling. Zach left the game for a bit he got hurt on Sunday on what looked to be a hip drop tackle, to be honest with you, but they didn't call it, but it is what it is. And did come back to play, but kind of like Mike Hilton. Adrenaline's a heck of a thing in the middle of a game. Amarius Mims, it's good to see him back, but adrenaline's a heck of a thing in a game. The Gesicki one, we didn't know he got hurt in the game. That was the first time we kind of figured out that he's injured. I would say this, though, as much as Mike's played a nice role, and Lance, you can remember the play, he made a heck of a catch on Sunday. And again, they're probably their best receiver. Tanner Hudson's then trending back in the right direction. If there's one thing you could probably, if you had to go down the roster and go check off boxes of what could you maybe live without, it would be Mike Gesicki with Tanner Hudson coming back. They're not similar players. I think Mike is clearly a better receiver than Tanner, but Tanner's a darn good receiver that Joe Burrow trusts. The fact that might be a switch out, I don't think is a huge loss. And that's not a knock on Mike, because Mike's played really well. The fact that what Eric All has done as a 3-down tight end has been the thing to me. It's been a revelation. So, yeah, if there's a position group you could miss, it's that. If Zach can't go, maybe it's time for Chase Brown, a healthy Chase Brown, to get him 25 touches. And let's see what the dude can do, because he's been really good when he gets touches.
Skinny, at one point when the schedule came out, or even into training camp, if someone was inclined to put the Giants game in the win column as you were doing predictions, I'm not nearly as comfortable doing that now, obviously based on the way the Bengals are playing, but nobody should be sleeping on that Giants team.
No, Daniel Jones has played better. Nobody's ever going to confuse him for being great, but he's played better. They're coming off a 170-yard rushing performance at Seattle. They won at Seattle. That's not an easy thing to do for even really good teams, and I think Seattle's a playoff-caliber team. They have a big game, obviously, tomorrow night against San Francisco, but I think it's a playoff-caliber team. Doesn't mean it's going to make the playoffs, but it's got enough parts to do that, and that defensive front is ridiculous. Yep. Not only is that front ridiculous, now it looks like they're going to miss Kayvon Thibodeau, who had wrist surgery today. They're listing him as day-to-day, but I'm not sure that Lance, you have wrist surgery on a Wednesday. I'm not so sure you're playing on a Sunday, but okay, you can listen to that day-to-day all you want. But I don't think that's going to probably be a thing. But Dexter Lawrence is a dude at nose tackle, and they have 11 different guys that have recorded sacks, including a safety who's recorded 3. They don't blitz a ton, but it seems like when they do blitz, they get home, but they can also rely on the front 4 to go get the quarterback. Now, this offensive line has played really, really well for the Bengals. And maybe that's what you lean on. If you want to rush 4, you ain't getting home. You're going to have to blitz. If you blitz, Joe Burrow will pick you apart.
Perfect segue to a Joe Burrow question. Of all the concern, legitimate concern, hand-wringing, Joe's gone through his surgery, no quarterback has ever gone through. How's he going to look? Is the ball going to wobble? Hard to believe that we're 5 weeks into the season, and there are so many things on the list to be worried about, and yet Joe Burrow is playing lights-out football, as good, if not better, than any quarterback in the NFL right now, and they're 1-4. Yeah,
that's the weird part, right? The first game certainly looked wonky with all the check downs and not pushing it down the field, and maybe he didn't trust it. It was interesting. Joe said today he doesn't think he's got the spin rate that he would like, and he even said, I'm throwing some wobblers at times. Well, that's fine. You want to throw wobblers at times and have, and I haven't done the math. I usually do this. I know as of going into the last game, he was well over 100 quarterback ratings since that New England game, and he added a 130, whatever the heck it was, quarterback rating-wise in this last game, so he's well over 100. He's accurate. He's on time. People can look. He had a couple of throws. The one slant to T. Higgins in the end zone for a touchdown, people could go, man, he threw it behind him. Well, he threw it behind him intentionally because Patrick Queen was there on the front end of that, and Patrick Queen would have either knocked it down or picked it off, and that throw had to be there. Now, credit to T for having that kind of catch radius to reach back and get it. But what a brilliant throw. Those are things that sometimes you're like, oh, that looked like an ugly throw. No, that was a brilliant throw. It was the perfect place that only T could catch it, and you trusted T to catch it. And, the deep ball, he hung one to T the other day, and that maybe is a factor for him of occasionally he's going to hang one. But he's also found some nice deep balls as well. Did Jamar in the Washington game? He's He's really good at the moment for a guy that even admits, I'm not throwing it the way I'd like. I'm not perfect throwing it. Well, that's fine. You want to not be perfect throwing it this way? You know, as Peyton Manning said, I threw a lot of wobblers in my career and did pretty well.
I saw one wagering site today has reset the Bengals over-under win total at 8.5, down from 10.5 in week 1. They're 1-4. There's 12 games left. Is there a pathway out of this that you see?
There is, because you can hang your hat, barring injury, on this offense continuing to be really good. Are they putting up 30 every week? Nah, it's probably unrealistic, but I think they're putting 30 up most weeks, because I think they've missed some stuff even in some of these games. And all you need is for the defense to just get to 20th in the NFL in ranking. You just need to get 2 stops a half, or give me a stop and a half and a turnover and another stop and a half. And it's gonna be a lot of 30-27s, 30-24s, all those things. The schedule's not easy, Lance. I mean, we can laugh about Cleveland stinking and all those things, but it's still, you got to play them on the road. You got to play Pittsburgh on the road. You got to play Baltimore on the road. You got to play the Chargers on the road, and you got to play the Cowboys on the road. That's still a big ask. You haven't won a home game yet, but I think there is a path for this, and it has to start obviously this week. You can't. 1-5 is literally impossible. Can this team go 9-3 to get to 10-7? I think it can. And as we saw a couple of years ago, they went on a 10-game winning streak. I think that team was more complete than this team, but I can hang my hat on the offense of this team, and all you need is a slight improvement for the defense, and maybe improved health is what leads to the slight improvement of this defense.
Skinny, how can those listening read, watch, and follow your Bengals coverage?
Yep, just head to local12.com. Got all kinds of stuff up. Mike Petraglia and I do a post-game podcast.
I love that. I love that, by the way. I love that podcast.
Yeah, Mike's great. He's one of my favorite people, and I really enjoyed doing it with him. I'm glad we kind of collaborated on that, and enjoying that, and obviously enjoy the podcast with Rick each and every week as well.
Absolutely. You're the man. Thanks for making time.
Anytime, Lance. Take care.
There you go. Richard Skinner, Skinny, local12.com. Still ahead. We'll get some headlines. Then I want to get into the Bengals. I'll kind of ask you the question I asked Skinny about finding a pathway out. And I'll start that conversation with a statement made to me at the bank, of all places, earlier this week related to the Bengals. That and more to get to. Appreciate you being here. It's Ralph's American Grill Sports Talk, presented by Kelsey Chevrolet, 700 WLW.
From the UC Health Traffic Center, mammograms save lives. Call 513-584-PINK to schedule your annual mammogram with UC Health's expert team. That's 513-584-PINK. And we're seeing some slowdowns still with the 71 heavy as you make your way southbound MLK to the Brent Spence Bridge, about an 11-minute delay. Now, northbound 71 between the Brent Spence and US 50, it's a couple of minutes slowdown through that area. Northbound 71 also heavy, Dana to Ronald Reagan Highway, about a 10-minute slowdown. Southbound 75 from the Western Avenue area down to the Brent Spence is about a 5-minute delay as volumes are thinning out a bit. 275 westbound at Princeton Pike, reports of an accident here off on the shoulder, and the left lane blocked on 75 southbound after Western Avenue with a crash, and police are there. I'm Rick Schrempf, News Radio 700 WLW.
Clear skies for the rest of your Wednesday as temperatures fall from the mid-70s into the 60s this evening. Overnight tonight, another cool one, mid to upper 40s, right around 48 degrees with mostly clear skies and a light wind out of the north at 2 to 4 miles per hour. Thursday, slightly cooler, northeast wind at 5 to 10. We're looking at a high of only 70. Plenty of sunshine. That'll carry on into Friday. Friday, gorgeous, 74 degrees and sunshine. Saturday, clouds build with temps near 80. From your severe weather station, I'm 9 First Warning meteorologist Brandon Spinner, News Radio 700 WLW.
Is there a special time you like to listen to Scott Sloan?
I need Sloaney's common sense when everything seems bat crap crazy.
All right.
Sometimes I think Sloaney is the only thing that isn't crazy.
Sloaney's one of the few who has his head screwed on right.
I wish I could unscrew my head and screw on a better looking one.
I wish you could too.
I guess any time is the right time for Sloaney.
Anytime you can listen to Sloaney is a good time.
Tomorrow morning at 9 on 700 WLW. And check out his podcast on the free iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by Brakes for Less.
Brakes for Less is what we do. We know drums, rotors, pads, and shoes. It doesn't matter what kind of car you got. Call 888-261-STOP. All we do are Brakes for Less.
Hey, are you tired of living with chronic pain, knee pain, joint pain? It's Time to get the relief you deserve without going under the knife. Think about it. Your body heals itself. Think about it. You cut your finger. Yeah, guess what? Your body's healing agents are at work because it heals up in a few days. QC Kinetics can take those healing properties and concentrate them in the joints where you have pain to help heal and restore those achy areas. This treatment is available now right here in Cincinnati through QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. The results, you can move again with no pain. QC Kinetics has treated thousands of patients with incredible success. Finally, relief from arthritis and injury without surgery or downtime, no steroids or pain pills. If you've got pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back, you need to see if you're a good candidate for these new treatments. Find out. Call now to schedule a free consultation with QC Kinetics. 513-847-0019.
Tri-State Ford truck buyers. Mike Castrucci Ford in Milford and Alexandria is your source for light-duty F-150 pickup trucks. Just announced. Buy a brand new Ford F-150 pickup. Take as much as $14,000 off the sticker price with dealer discount and factory rebate. That's $14,000 off the sticker price. Check us out online or visit us today. 300 new Ford trucks in stock. That's Mike Castrucci Ford. Tri-State Ford buyers. Mike Castrucci Ford in Milford and Alexandria is your source for all things electric. You can lease a brand new 2024 Ford Mach-E, just $299 a month, 24 months, payment plus tax, 10,500 miles a year, 20 cents a mile over, $39.95, cash due at signing. Check us out online or visit us today only at Mike Castrucci Ford.
Homeowners, the Fed has taken action, lowering rates for the first time in years, and Loan Pronto has followed suit by lowering mortgage rates big time. Hey, it's Eddie. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.59% APR, the lowest in 2 years. Whether you got your loan last month or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto and dump that high-rate loan. You can lock in at lower rates with virtually no paperwork and usually no appraisal. There's no limit on how many times you can refi, and even if you're in process with another lender, give Loan Pronto a call. If you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Purchase loans available as well. Get your rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call now, 513-800-1550 or loanpronto.com, or call 513-800-1550. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, MLSconsumeraccess.org.
All right. Protect yourself, Ohio. Get your shots for COVID and flu today. A message from the Ohio Departments of Health and Aging.
Is your advisor managing your money or your wealth? At Plant Moran Wealth Management, they believe you deserve more from your advisor. They build a one-of-a-kind plan suited to your passions, values, and evolving needs, and work alongside you to achieve your financial goals. With a team of specialists in investment, tax, financial, and estate planning, and more, they help you keep earning for more. Get started today at plantmoran.com/earn for more. That's plantmoran.com/earn for more.
Get ready for Genesis Diamond's largest ever sale on luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. Hey, this is David Cooper, Vice President at Genesis Diamonds. If you've ever dreamed of wearing a Rolex, you can't miss this special 2-day event, October 18th and 19th. During this event, you can take advantage of special pricing and 0% interest financing on a stunning selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. We've got dozens and dozens of Pepsi, Batman, Sprites, Submariners, Daytonas, models you can't find anywhere else. All of our luxury pre-owned Rolexes are in pristine like new condition, some just out of the box. And listen, with the purchase of any luxury pre-owned Rolex at this event, Genesis will give you a pair of 2-carat lab-grown diamond stud earrings free. That's a $3,000 value. Also, our pre-owned Rolex buyers will be on site offering top dollar for your Rolex. Come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in the state and take advantage of special financing October 18th and 19th only, and only at Genesis Diamonds on Montgomery Road.
All right, let's get some headlines taken care of so we can go. Baseball this afternoon. The Tigers shut out the Guardians again. That's back-to-back shutouts. Cleveland has not scored over the last 20 innings of baseball. 6 Detroit pitchers combined on a 6-hit shutout. Detroit leads the series 2-1. All 3 games in the series have featured a shutout. Right now, the Phillies have just pushed across to run. They lead the Mets 1-0, going bottom 4. The Mets left the bases loaded in the first. They left the bases loaded in the second. Tonight, Yankees and Royals, series even at 1. Later, Dodgers and Padres, San Diego up 2-1. Red shortstop Elly De La Cruz, one of 20 finalists for the Hank Aaron Award, given to the most outstanding regular season offensive performer in Major League Baseball. 10 National League candidates, 10 American League candidates. Arizona Fall League last night. Matt McClain, a big night in his debut, went 2 for 3, a double, a homer, a walk, 3 runs scored, and 2 runs driven in. This afternoon, they're playing Connor Phillips. Started 4 innings, no runs, 2 hits, no walks. That's really good. 7 strikeouts. He needed just 58 pitches. Bengals, they cleared corner DJ Ivey to return to practice today. Second-year player out of Miami was placed on the reserve PUP list on August 27th with a knee injury. Today starts a 21-day period during which he can practice without counting against the active roster. He can be activated at any time during that period. Don't forget, join Rocky and me tomorrow night for the Roundtable Show at Long Necks in Richwood. We'll preview the matchup versus the Giants. Lamar Jackson is the AFC Offensive Player of the Week after his performance versus the Bengals. The Buccaneers signed Mason product Tanner Canoe to their practice squad. Congratulations to him. College football, the Bearcats still scheduled to play Central Florida in Orlando on Saturday. Soccer, FC Cincinnati back to work today for Saturday's match at Philadelphia Union, 6 p.m. Team USA plays second at the 77th Motocross of Nations over the weekend. Hamilton's Aaron Plessinger, Cowboy they call him, part of that team. Congratulations to him. And speaking of congrats, I will offer those to the voice of the Cincinnati Cyclones, Dana Gray. He was named voice of the AHL Rockford Ice Hogs today. Best of luck for him. They're a Chicago Blackhawks affiliate. Dana joined me last week to preview the season ahead for the Cyclones. Now he's on the way to Rockford. Their season starts on Saturday. Good luck to him. Named voice today. Got to know all the players and numbers by Saturday. Best of luck. Congratulations to him. Everything else is in blog form at 700WLW.com. Blog presented by Modern Office Methods. Think your office technology is safe. Think again. Cybersecurity risks are increasing and can cost your organization tens of thousands of dollars. Find out if your business and data is at risk. The Modern Office Methods 30-second tech check at momnet.com. You can count on Mom. All right, early on tonight, my docket looks as follows. Bengals conversation. 7 o'clock hour, we'll drop in some Reds talk. Terry Francona, some of the things he said last night, I'd be interested in your reaction to. And then a topic in the 8 o'clock hour centered around my lunch conversation today. All of that ahead. Let's get into the Bengals next. 1-4, 12 games left. I didn't figure we'd be doing this as a topic months ago. Are the Bengals more dead or alive at this point? And I'll ask you what I asked Skinny. Is there a pathway out? That after we check news. It's Ralph's American Grill Sports Talk presented by Kelsey Chevrolet, 700 WLW.
News, traffic, and weather. News Radio 700 WLW, Cincinnati.
Hurricane Milton inching towards landfall. With the 6:30 report, I'm Taryn Johnson. Breaking now, it'll be a hairy next 24 hours for the Sunshine State as Milton makes a beeline for the peninsula. The now Category 3 storm is expected to make landfall along Florida's Gulf Coast sometime before midnight, and that timeline actually creeping up to within the next couple of hours. ABC's chief meteorologist Ginger Z reports from Fort Myers.
Just in a couple of hours, we should see landfall, certainly before midnight. And I want to just set the scene of where I am here. We've obviously seen surge start to breach, and this is low tide. Right there, the dock covered at the hotel that we're staying at. Wind-wise, we've been in good shape, and that's why we're so far from the center. I mean, Milton passed at closest 120 miles from us, but it's now northwest and about 50 miles west-southwest of Sarasota.
We will continue to keep you updated as Milton inches towards landfall and throughout the rest of the night. Now for the latest traffic and weather together.
From the UC Health Traffic Center, mammograms save lives. Call 513-584-PINK to schedule your annual mammogram with UC Health's expert team. That's 513-584-PINK. Traffic is slowing on 74 westbound after US 52. Accident with police on the scene. A crash to 75 westbound after Princeton Pike. It's on the left shoulder. Now 71 southbound MLK to right around 471. Still about an 8-minute delay. And 75 northbound Mitchell to Paddock, an extra 10 minutes. And the work continuing along 471 northbound and southbound at the Daniel Carter Baird Bridge. Northbound is the left lane affected and southbound the right lane under construction. I'm Rick Schrepp, News Radio 700 WLW.
Now the latest forecast from the Train Heating and Cooling Weather Center on News Radio 700 WLW.
Let's go through the rest of your Wednesday looking at mostly sunny skies. Temperatures into the mid-70s and a calm wind out of the north and west at 5 miles per hour. Into the overnight tonight, staying on the mild side. Mid to upper 40s, right about average, with wind out of the north light at 2 to 4 miles per hour. Clear skies overnight, and that'll be the case for your Thursday. A bit cooler Thursday, right around 70 degrees. More sunshine into Friday, 74 with a windy weather on the way for the weekend. From your severe weather station, I'm 9 First Warning meteorologist Brandon Spinner, News Radio 700 WLW.
Our radar shows clear conditions. Right now, it's sunny and 71 degrees. The Hamilton County Coroner's Office has identified a 70-year-old Erlanger woman who died after being allegedly assaulted by a family member yesterday. The woman has been identified as Sherry Oliver. Police arrived at the scene on Ridgewood Drive around 2 p.m. yesterday afternoon, where they found 18-year-old Wyatt Testerman outside the home. Oliver was found inside with what officials described as life-threatening injuries. She was taken to UC Medical Center, where she was pronounced dead. Testerman was immediately taken into custody, and he's being charged with murder. His bond has been set at $500,000. Final numbers on Wall Street. The Dow Jones adding 431 points today, while the NASDAQ was up 108 and the S&P rising 40. News time is 6:34. Our next update's at 7 o'clock. I'm Taryn Johnson, News Radio 700 WLW.
Men, here are a few statistics about erectile dysfunction. First, half of men over age 50 have it, with even more of us affected as we get into our 60s and beyond. ED can also impact younger men, even in their 30s, which makes it one of the most pervasive conditions in medicine. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and statistics are one thing, but it's the emotional toll on relationships and the impact on a man's confidence and self-esteem that are the true tragedies of erectile dysfunction. This is why you need to get treated for your ED, but where you get treated is just as important as getting treated, because who you trust for your health care is critical. At Tri-State Men's Health, men's sexual health is our focus. Our providers are experts in treating ED, and we offer the complete range of treatment options with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means you can get your sex life back. So call us. Your first visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills. For a successful stint in the great outdoors, pack accordingly. Place heavy essentials near your spine for stability in rough terrain, with light items near the bottom. Now, you may be wondering, where does the Bush Light go? In your stomach. Bush. Head for the mountains.
Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2024, Anheuser-Busch, Busch Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
At Advanced Industry, we get it.
I want to make sure that not just that my smile looks good, but that I'm preventing problems before they start. So for me, dental care is just as important as all the other self-care that I do.
If you've been avoiding the dentist because of fear, worry, or just not wanting to be judged, you're not alone. If you want to learn how IV sedation can change your life, visit nofeardentist.com.
There are many reasons why over 90,000 members choose the Small Business SACA benefit plan. It's backed by Anthem with full access to their hospitals and doctors. It's tied into your local chamber, so call them or your insurance agent. Visit 844medohio.com today.
Rocky here for Vance Outdoors. Vance has all your needs covered, from shooting sports to hunting and fishing, the lowest prices, and the largest selection of firearms and outdoor necessities in the Midwest. Visit Springdale or in Lebanon. Get the very best gear at VanceOutdoors.com.
Tri-State Chevy truck buyers, it's truck season at Mike Castrucci Chevrolet in Milford.
636 700 WLW, Ralph's American Grill Sports Talk, presented by Kelsey Chevrolet. We roll till 9 tonight. Look, I get it. Life happens. Life gets in the way. You don't always have time to listen. I'd be honored if you listened every hour I was on, but that's probably impossible. That's a big ask. But the beauty is, if you missed Terry Francona last night, man, how good was he if you listened to him? If you missed Wes Miller talking Bearcats last night, it's there for you when you have the time, on your time. Just like the conversation with Skinny a few minutes ago, two different places. 700WLW.com. Just look for the podcast page. Or if you have the iHeartRadio app, and who doesn't? It's free to download on your phone, your tablet, your Kindle, your computer, you name it. It's there. Listen when you have the time to Terry Francona, Wes Miller, Richard Skinner, the Roundtable Show, Bengals Line, you name it, it is there, including the entire episode of shows like Sports Talk tonight. All right. Earlier today, Zach met with the media. He was asked by Caleb No of Channel 9 stands for News, about the mentality this week, and if it's at 1-4, if it's that mentality of backs against the wall, circle the wagons. Here's what Zach said.
I think you got to do everything to make sure it's just a normal week for us. I don't believe you play your best when you think that way. And I think that's been a strength of this team this season over past seasons. When you watch us in the building, there's always a level of urgency that's always there. We have our standard. And when you watch practice, you wouldn't know what our record was based on the energy and the attention to detail. That's something we got to continue moving forward. And that's something we really pride ourselves in as a team, and will lead to success in the future by having that mentality.
Zach Taylor earlier today. I had a conversation earlier this week that I would like your thoughts and opinion on. So on Monday, I walked into the bank, do some transactions, and I was wearing a Bengals pullover, and I had this day after obviously a gut check loss. And the bank teller looked at me and just matter-of-factly said, have the Bengals already handed the Cincinnati sports baton to the Reds 5 weeks into the season? And it caught me off guard. One, I'm in a bank, and two, just the question and the way he phrased it, have the Bengals already handed the sports baton to the Reds 5 weeks into their season? And my instant reaction was, that's a good topic for my show. And I've been thinking about it ever since Monday, and now I'd like to present it to you. And the phones are open at 513-749-7000, 1-800, the big one. Maybe not the specific answer of, have they handed it back to after, we waited and waited for Bengal season to get here, and the Reds, training camp can't start soon enough. Bengals football. And now already 5 weeks into the season, is it on to, I cannot wait till pitchers and catchers report and Terry Francona is here. But I know this. I never, ever thought I'd be sitting here preparing to present this topic. It's the second week of October. Are the Bengals dead? Second week of October? 5 games into a 17-game season, 12 to go. I asked Skinny if he saw a path out of this. Is there a reason to believe there is a path out of this? I will say this. One, I'm the eternal optimist. I'm like the guy ever make it, no, you're such a homer. And yeah, I live a lot of my Cincinnati sports life in denial. I admit it. And it's for a couple of reasons in particular. Let me go with the professional reason. The Bengals can't be dead. I've got 12 more Bengals lines to do. That's 3 hours of 12. That's 36 more hours of Bengals line. I have 12 more roundtable shows to do. That's 36 more hours of roundtable show. Purely from a selfish, professional standpoint, the Bengals can't be dead. They just can't be dead. Because I've got a lot of shows talking Bengals. I'm really not ready to start talking about the draft. The path out, for me at least, is I just refuse to believe a team is dead with Joe Burrow at quarterback and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins at wide receiver. I can't stick a fork in a team that has scored more than 30 points a game each of the last 3 weeks. Do I think they can score 30 every week the remaining 12 weeks of the season? Probably unlikely. Do I believe they can make a run at that and put up close to that most weeks? I absolutely do. If they were as bad offensively as they are defensively, I'd say absolutely. Let's administer the last rites, taps, a moment of silence, and then let's move on. But they're like half bad, and the other half is damn good. So I can't say they're dead, but I can't say I'm entirely eagerly optimistic. They're 1-4, so that means they need to win at least 9 of their last 12. That will get them to 10-7, and then you hope. You cross your fingers. I was struck today when one wagering site came out and they released their new projected win totals for every team in the NFL. 5 weeks into the season, they've updated. If you're into the wagering of an over-under on a team's win total, the Bengals began the season with the win total. If you wanted to bet the Bengals, you had to bet over or under 10.5. Whew. And I was thinking at that point, 11-6? Yeah, heck yeah. You know what they've dropped it to now? The Bengals win total has been dropped to 8.5. That means you're betting they can get to 9. Can they get to 9? Or are they going to fall short at 8 or fewer? We're 5 weeks into the season, and from a purely betting standpoint, people in Vegas are wondering and putting up a number. Do you really think they can win more than 8.5 games, smart guy? Huh. I saw ESPN's projected record for the Bengals is now 8-9. ESPN, with all their complex formulas and calculations and numbers and spitting out numbers from the computer, they say the Bengals will go 8-9. Remember when we used to talk about they got a last place schedule. Last place schedule, and they are good to go. And yet part of me, the optimist in me says, well, okay, they're 1-4. Can't do anything about that. But, man, they are just that, they're just that fourth and 16 stop, and they're just a good hold on a field goal away from really being 3-2. The record may be 1-4, but, man, just get that stop and just a whole, good snap, 3-2, and it's a whole different ball game. And, hey, man, they've faced 3 dynamic quarterbacks. They faced Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels. And look what they have up next. They got the Giants, and they got the Browns, they got the Eagles, and they got the Raiders. Lance, I think they can win those next 4. And then they'll have Baltimore with a chance to win at Baltimore to get back to 500 at 5-5. And Lance, at worst case, they win 3 of the next 4. They'll win 3 of the next 4. And that puts them at 4-5 going into Baltimore. And yet, that smack of reality, they lost to Jacoby Brissett and the Patriots. Their only win is against Carolina. They're 0-3 at home. So I would say no, the baton has not been passed officially. The torch, the baton, not passed. But holy moly, when we come back, I want your thoughts of how you're looking at this right now. But I cannot stick a fork in a team led by Joe Burrow offensively. I just can't. But how good how decent are we supposed to really feel with the other half of the team? And in my crystal ball, I never, as much as I like to plan out topics and kind of plot them out by the day, by the week, by the month, and think, all right, we'll talk about this then, and this then, and this at that time, I did not have a scenario on my drawing board in my office where I said 5 weeks into the season, I will be dealing with a bank teller who's asked me if the Bengals have already passed the sports baton around here back to the Reds, and pondering the question, 5 weeks in, are the Bengals actually dead? Your thoughts next. It's Ralph's American Grill Sports Talk, presented by Kelsey Chevrolet, 700 WLW.
I didn't used to be a morning guy.
I used to hate mornings.
I'd rather dip my face in honey and stick it in an anthill than wake up.
Wait a minute. For real?
Now I can't wait to wake up and hear Mike.
Starting your day getting everything you need to know from me, Mike McConnell makes you feel good.
Mike's Mr. Feel Good.
I feel good.
And when you feel good, you look good.
I can't imagine my morning without McConnell.
Feel good. Look good.
Be a morning lover with Mike McConnell. Tomorrow morning at 5 on 700 WLW.
In this week's Marketers Report, we hear about the importance of local radio from Allison Griffin, head of marketing at State Farm.
iHeart has such a broad broadcast reach that is local, and for us to be able to touch customers with a local feel but at a national scale is so efficient and important for us.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, trusted influencers, and data you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, could be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Go to carsforkids.org today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Homeowners, the Fed has taken action, lowering rates for the first time in years, and Loan Pronto has followed suit by lowering mortgage rates big time. Hey, it's Eddie. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.59% APR, the lowest in 2 years. Whether you got your loan last month or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto and dump that high-rate loan. You can lock in at lower rates with virtually no paperwork and usually no appraisal. There's no limit on how many times you can refi, and even if you're in process with another lender, give Loan Pronto a call. If you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Purchase loans available as well. Get your rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call now, 513-800-1550 or loanpronto.com, or call 513-800-1550. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, MLSconsumeraccess.org.
I'll be honest, I'm really worried about my kids and grandkids. I never thought we'd be facing a national abortion ban in this country.
That's Kim. She lives in Cincinnati and is a grandma to 6.
If something happened to my family, I'd want them to have all the help they need. But with a national ban, they'll have nowhere to turn.
Bernie Moreno supports a national abortion ban, and he has said he is 100% against abortion with no exceptions. And if Moreno's in the Senate, he could be the deciding vote to pass a national abortion ban.
Last year, we voted to protect abortion in Ohio. Now, Bernie Moreno wants to get rid of that completely. It's simple. I don't trust Bernie Moreno to do what's right for my family. He should never be Ohio's senator.
Your Community PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Your Community PAC, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Learn more at yourcommunitypac.org.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9924. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9924. That's 800-575-9924. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This is it. iHeartRadio wants you to see Oasis Live 25 in the city of your choice. We'll handle everything, including a special VIP experience. Just open the free iHeart app and listen to Smells Like the 90s to enter. Tickets to Oasis Live 25 at LiveNation.com.
Stop by Ralph's American Grill in Wilmington, I-71, exit 50, inside the Holiday Inn at the Roberts Center.
When you're moving down the road, you should get a good feeling inside. For collision repair, Liberty is there. Call Liberty Collision today.
Deep in the back of your mind, you've always had the feeling that there's something strange about reality. There is. Stuff to Blow Your Mind, an iHeart podcast that dives deep into the mysteries of the universe. With more than 2,500 episodes ready to listen, Stuff to Blow Your Mind will guide you through the strange, the bizarre, and the mind-blowing. Listen to Stuff to Blow Your Mind on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Stuff to Blow Your Mind to start listening.
Live from the 700 WLW studios. Driven by Mike Castrucci Ford in Milford and Alexandria. Check out the Tri-State's largest inventory of brand new Ford Broncos, Super Duty, and Ford Mustang at MikeCastrucciFord.com. That's Mike Castrucci Ford.
You're listening to 700 WLW. Also available on 94.5 FM W233BG Cincinnati.
A couple of ways to contribute, be involved, invest in the show. Twitter, X, at Lance McAllister. Join our conversation. Or if Facebook is more your speed, certainly jump in there. Lance McAllister Sports Talk for the Facebook page. We're talking Bengals tonight, among many things. Mina Kimes of ESPN was talking Bengals earlier this week on NFL Live. Listen to what Mina Kimes of ESPN said about this Bengals situation.
Joe Burrow, so far this year, is first in passer rating, first in passing touchdowns, second in QBR. The entire offense is second in EPA per play, and they're 1-4.
Yep.
That's embarrassing. Like, your quarterback and your wide receivers, Jamar Chase, I want to include him here, are playing some of the best football of their entire careers. But the organization has let them down. And I say organization because the coaching staff is not above reproach. I thought the way they handled, by the way, the end of game with the field goal entirely too conservatively when your quarterback is in God mode. But really, it starts with the front office drafting or not drafting well, choosing the wrong players, basically setting this team up where the defense was not good enough, certainly not good enough to win a Super Bowl. I'm not writing them off because the offense has been that good, Laura, but they have to be aggressive about improving this defense before this season becomes a lost one.
Mina Kimes earlier this week, ESPN, they're blowing this. This was the year, the last dance with T, before the salary cap really becomes a big part of the equation with Joe Burrow's contract. All they needed, we said. How many times do we say? It's like a standard throwaway line. This team with this offense, if you just are an average NFL defense, that's 16th in the league, just an average NFL defense. They're a Super Bowl team. This team right now, tonight at 6:55 p.m., is allowing 29 points per game. They're 31st out of 32 teams in points allowed. They're 26th in yards allowed per game. They're 30th in rushing yards allowed per game. They're 29th in sacks. They have 6 sacks. 6 total. The Giants, who they play Sunday night, have 22. Aiden Hutchinson of the Lions has more sacks himself than the Bengals defense has together. He's got 6.5. There's 4 NFL players on their own who have at least as many sacks as the Cincinnati Bengals defense combined. How did we get to this point? And is it the point of no return? We head to Dayton. Hey, Bob, welcome to 700 WLW.
Hey, Lance. Good to talk to you.
Good to hear from you.
I'll tell you this, man. Thinking about this, first of all, you need to go to another bank. Listening to her talking about, but passing the baton to the Reds. First of all, just comment real quick on the Reds.
Yes.
What have the Reds done? What have they done to give any hope to any baseball fan in this city? Just because they got a manager off his couch, that's going to change a last-place team? The Reds haven't done – how long have they been rebuilding?
Oh, now, I do not disagree. That better not be their only move, but let me try to refocus you and reel you back in. What do you make of the Bengals situation?
Relax.
Ooh.
Now, that sounds crazy, but give me a team that's averaging about 30 points a game. I think defensively, even in that game against the Ravens, there were individuals that played actually halfway decent. I think a lot of the Bengals' issues are things that are fixable, bad angles, missed tackles. Those things can actually be corrected. One of the things, if I'm the defensive coordinator, I would do, stop with this blind loyalty to those safeties and people on the back end that aren't getting the job done. You got younger guys that are faster that should be playing. So stop the loyalty stuff where we're going to keep these guys and we're going to play them no matter what, even though they're getting burnt. I think that can actually be I see things that are actually fixable on the Bengals situation. And actually, not to give them an excuse, they could very easily have won 3 more games. They should have won the Kansas City game. The New England Patriots game, as bad as they played, remember what the league came back and said? Well, the touchdown to Gesicki should have counted. Well, that would have been a win. That's 17-16. As bad as they played in that particular game. So there is the Baltimore game. They should have won that game. Now, woulda, coulda, shoulda, true. But there are at least things that I see with this team that can actually be fixed. Plus, you got 12 games to go, and they are talented. They have talent on that defense. I think a lot of it has to do with coaching. Quit the blind loyalty to some of these guys like Von Bell. If they're not playing well, then guess what? Sit them down, and the guys that are missing, sit them down until they start playing well.
Bob,
I don't think it's rocket science.
Those are perfect words for an opening statement for the phones. I appreciate you being my first caller tonight, and call again sometime.
All right, buddy.
All right, thank you. That's a good start. Now, there's stuff in there I would grab a hold of and hug. There's other stuff I would grab a hold of and throw it off to the side. If it is fixable, I guess my question would be when would they like to get around to fixing it? Because they're 5 weeks into the season. If in fact it's fixable, why hasn't it been fixed in the first 5 games? That's what drives me now. And I get the give other guys opportunities. Did anybody happen to closely look at the opportunities Jordan Battle got on Sunday? Because if you did, you probably then thought to yourself, oh, well, now I know why Lou hasn't given him more opportunities. Because I think Jordan Battle was in for 8 snaps, and I know this isn't true. It just seems like it. They threw his way and completed all 8 passes, or came relatively close. That might be a slight exaggeration, but that's not a silver bullet at this point. I also know this, Joe Goodberry from Bengals on the Brain, wonderful podcast, Bengals analyst. He points out since 2021, the Bengals are 18th in defense overall in expected points allowed. They're 18th since 2021. And he said it just isn't this season. The defense was never good. He says it was opportunistic is the word I'm looking for, and played well with what the offense was doing on a given day, which it isn't doing this season. They were opportunistic in the postseason. But he says, on a whole, they haven't been good for a long time. I don't have a whole lot of pushback on that. I would like to take more of your reaction as we continue. I'm going to slide a Reds topic, maybe another segment or so, because I want to pick up Josh and Mark and Michael and Ross and Harold and others as we continue with Ralph's American Grill Sports Talk, presented by Kelsey Chevrolet, 700 WLW.
News, traffic, and weather. News Radio 700 WLW, Cincinnati.
Hurricane Milton approaching landfall. With the 7 o'clock report, I'm Taryn Johnson. Breaking now. Now a Category 3 hurricane. Milton is rapidly approaching the Florida Gulf Coast. The latest from ABC News.
This is a special report from ABC News, Hurricane Milton. I'm Mike Dubusky. Winds have already begun to pick up across the western coast of Florida, where Fort Myers Beach just recorded a 68-mile-per-hour gust. Hurricane Milton is currently a Category 3 storm, with winds topping 120 miles per hour. But ABC News Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z in Fort Myers says, in addition to wind, this storm's going to bring a lot of water, too.
Just in a couple of hours, we should see landfall, certainly before midnight. And I want to just set the scene of where I am here. We've obviously seen surge start to breach, and this is low tide. Right there, the dock covered at the hotel that we're staying at. Wind-wise, we've been in good shape, and that's why we're so far from the center. I mean, Milton passed at closest 120 miles from us, but it's now northwest and about 50 miles west-southwest of Sarasota.
Tornado warnings also currently in effect across much of the eastern part of the state. This is ABC News.
Now the latest traffic and weather together. We are not seeing any major delays or accidents on tri-state highways at this point in time.
Now the latest forecast from the Advanced Dentistry Weather Center. Advanced Dentistry, the judgment-free dental experience you've been looking for. NoFearDentist.com.
Clear skies for the rest of your Wednesday as temperatures fall from the mid-70s into the 60s this evening. Overnight tonight, another cool one, mid to upper 40s, right around 48 degrees with mostly clear skies and a light wind out of the north at 2 to 4 miles per hour. Thursday, slightly cooler, northeast wind at 5 to 10. We're looking at a high of only 70. Plenty of sunshine. That'll carry on into Friday. Friday, gorgeous, 74 degrees and sunshine. Saturday, clouds build with temps near 80. From your severe weather station, I'm 9 First Warning meteorologist Brandon Spinner, News Radio 700 WLW.
Right now, our radar shows clear conditions. We are seeing temperatures of 68 degrees. Well, 2 people involved in a deadly vape shop burglary attempt in Delhi Township last year have taken a plea deal. 20-year-old Amante Carter and 19-year-old Messiah Hart will both serve 7 years in prison for their role in the death of 16-year-old Travis Johnson. Hart pleaded guilty today to 1 count of involuntary manslaughter, while Carter pleaded guilty to 1 count of theft of a vehicle and 1 count of involuntary manslaughter. Last October, Johnson was shot and killed by the manager of the VIP smoke shop in